Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Monroe Mann, the founder of Break Diving, and today we are having another Divers Code event. As many of you know or may not know, if you're new to us, we have a code that all break divers abide by. What is break diving? Don't wait for opportunities to float to the surface. You need to come and dive into the ocean and find and make your own breaks. That's what break diving is. And our social media community at breakdiving.io, it's very different from all the others because you can't just join. We make sure that people understand what it is that's expected of them, because by helping everyone to abide by the same code of conduct and the same philosophy of life, guess what? We've created this amazing, inspiring, motivating, and supportive community that is very, very different from all the others. And so every once in a while, about once a month, we'll go over 3 of the 12 tenets of what it means to be a break diver, the Divers Code. And so I'm joined today with Susan and Bhavya. Great to have them both here. Hey guys. And we're going to discuss together what the tenets 7, 8, and 9 mean to us as individuals. Obviously, it's how you're expected to behave in the community, but it's actually, breakdiving is a philosophy for life, not just a microcosm. We expect people to use our community to inspire one another to go out into the world and do great things with our lives. And so when I share the screen, let me first go to a new window. Okay, so let's share the screen here, and let's just go to breakdiving, and we will /terms, let's see, and privacy. So we're going to scroll down here and we'll go to 7, 8, and 9. And Susan, can you read number 7? By the way, just before we start, the 3 that we're going to talk about today is I always try to help, I brag tastefully, and I keep my ego in check. So let's start with Bhavya. Susan, you'll read the 7, Bhavya will do 8, and I'll read 9. Go ahead.
I think some of the words are blocked a little bit by the cams. But I can read and you can help me. Is that okay?
If it's blocked, it's got it. Then you can move that video box from Zoom.
I didn't know I could just drag it. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
7, I always try to help. At every level of my success, I try to help others on their drive towards their success. I always try to reach out my hand to help those who are still struggling. Every day, I strive to be the pick-me-up and smile to someone in need.
Great. What does that mean to you, Susan, as an individual?
It means when I see somebody that needs help, I haven't, this is me. For example, if somebody posts something and they need help, whether it be technology or they're having a personal issue, I have a strong craving to help, even if I know nothing about the subject, to even say, maybe give them a link or something. But that's what it means to me.
Beautiful. Well, how about you, Bhavya? What does it mean to me? I always try to help. Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like wherever is like opportunities there to help someone, I think I'll try best. It's I feel like I always think like wherever we help, don't only like we always get that back help. Like it's always like if we help others, there will be always somebody there to help us. So we should always help others.
The one caveat, just I was telling you earlier today, Bhavya, that I'm having a problem with someone in my life, and sometimes you want to always try to help, but you have to know when to stop offering it, because at some point there are people who don't appreciate the help, or who don't want the help, or who are incapable of helping themselves regardless. And I think that's what it comes down to too. I mean, I agree with what we're both saying, because I know that when I help other people, put it this here, we should maybe change this, not only does someone in need, but someone in want, right?
Yeah.
It's not just someone in need. A lot of people, like I said, they don't want help, or their ego is too big that they
Yes.
won't accept help, or their ego's so big that they don't think they even need help. And I think that's a big issue. Then that when we get down to number 9, I think as soon as you think you don't need help, you have to kind of train yourself to stop and go, wait, is that my ego talking? Because a lot of time, I think we all need help. And this
Yeah.
person that I'm talking about needs help. And granted, I don't want to say, I'm sure this person would have a different perspective and whatnot, but and even my ego is maybe getting in the way of my perspective on this whole situation with this other person too. So this is important to get down here, but I think this is important that we at least try. I think I also go out of my way to help people, even if they don't ask for it or don't want it. And maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just wait for someone to ask. But I think I know people often don't have they don't know how to put their ego to the side enough to ask for help, because they think it makes them look stupid, or it makes them look incompetent. And I've always said, I think it makes you far more competent when you ask for help, because it shows that you don't have an ego. And when you don't have an ego, I think that's one of the best qualities. And I need to, we all need to, every one of us has an ego. So anyone watching on YouTube, or any of the 3 of us, we all do, and we need to work on it. But I think that's the essence of break diving. And as Bobby said, I think when you try to help people, more often than not, you get good in return.
Oh, yeah.
And except what's that expression? I forget. It's like something about the devil. It's like when you ask to help, and then the devil screws you over or something. It's very common. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Don't know.
Maybe it'll come to me. But it's something like, no matter what good you do, it's always gonna mess you over. Gosh, I know Susan knows this. If I said it, I know Bob.
If
You
you
might not.
say it, yeah.
It's like an English, what do you call that? Aphorism or something. Or,
Yeah.
the good. Anyway, it'll come back to me. And okay, let's move on to number 8, Bhavya, and then
Yeah.
tell us what it means to you when you're done.
I practice tastefully. I can and should be proud of my accomplishments, but drivers try to brag without discouraging and insulting others. In other words, I share my accomplishments only under 3 conditions: as a means to share the joy, as a means of inspiring others to follow in my footsteps, and as a means to encourage those who are thinking of quitting. Yeah, most of the time I feel like what accomplishments like brings that excitement, and we don't realize like sometimes what when we answer to others, like uh, um, uh, maybe it's like they feel some, like whether it's like how it affects them, or whether like negatively. Maybe we should think of whenever with that excitement, like whenever we are share our accomplishments, we should be looking at others like while replying, like how they feel. It's tough, I think, like um yeah, it's like with that excitement, if I say yeah, it's like I'm done, somebody says comes like I especially I know, like in a stock market, I see in the group chat where somebody says I lost in that, and somebody other says yeah, I gained this much like money. I was like, oh my god, how could say, like you have to always encourage them saying that yeah, I was on the same boat. Like beginners, usually it's tough. I was in the same boat. You can do it, like slow and tight. We always encourage them to do better. Yeah.
Yeah. Susan?
I like what she just said. Encouragement, that's the key. That's
Yes.
what you want to get across. My
Mhm.
My biggest goal in my life was graduating college. I mean, I was a high school dropout. I thought that I was going to amount to nothing. And I like to tell people that are in that, just starting out, these kids that are just starting school, it was the greatest accomplishment. You are not going to be sorry. And I truly believe that. And I think people can tell when you mean what you say. So I don't feel it's coming across as brag that I did it. I'm trying to encourage them, continue. If I can do it, you can do it. I think that's the key to this one.
Absolutely. And my 2 cents, I think a lot of times people brag because they want to impress other people. Their purpose is, I want people to see how awesome I am. Whereas when brake divers brag, it needs to be because I want to inspire them to do the same thing. And I want to remind them that despite the hardships that I encouraged them before, look at what I was still able to accomplish. And so it's not just about being sensitive to other people's feelings. It's about recognizing that it should be about helping other people. And if it is about you, like I said before, if you brag and it's really just true bragging, I just made this much money. People don't look up to you. They start to hate you. They start to think, like, that guy's such a jerk. All he does is brag about how much money he makes or this or that. And so I always try to make sure that when I do that, I always tell people I'm not bragging, I'm sharing the vibe. I want to share this good vibe, these good vibrations that I have, and maybe they'll rub off on you and you'll get inspired to do the same thing. So cool. Let's go on to the next one. Whoop. Here. Okay. Number 9, I'll read this one. I keep my ego in check. I try to never treat people differently because they have money or don't have money. Therefore, I'll strive to never let money or lack thereof change who I am, no matter how wealthy and successful I become or how much I struggle. I will not become self-obsessed and self-important. In the end, I'm still just a mortal human, and so is everyone else. The first thing was what I mentioned in the chat just earlier. It applies more to just money and don't have money. It's also in terms of I don't need help, or I'm better than everybody else. I mean, those are, or I'm going to make this decision based on my short-term ego gratification, as Susan mentioned, rather than, is this actually good for my long-term future? And there are at least 2 situations in my life that I made a decision based on short-term ego gratification because I was concerned what other people thought of me. And so I did something that in the end screwed me over. And it's terrible to think that my ego destroyed something. And it showed me how powerful this ego can be. When I say, and each of us has one. And if we don't learn how to tame it, you're going to screw yourself over at some point. It may not have happened yet, but if you let your ego grow unrestrained and you don't know how to manage it and keep it to the side and go, yay, you sit, you stay, ego, it'll cause problems. I'm sad that I had to learn this lesson through such a difficult loss, but I'm grateful, I guess, because I've learned how devastating not controlling your ego can be. And I've gotten better over the last 5 years. As anyone who works with me knows, I still got an ego. And we all have an ego. I'd say, but mine is stronger, let's say, than other people. You know what's fascinating about this, actually? Let me share the screen again, which I was just reading when I read this. It said, I will not become self-important and self-obsessed and self-important, no matter how much I struggle. I realize you can get a big ego based on your struggle. You guys know that I was going through, or I am going through this, overcoming this career loss that I had. And I'm struggling to come over this, but why am I struggling so much? Because I'm not keeping my ego in check.
Right.
I'm letting my ego make it seem like that there's no other job that could possibly be fulfilling. that this was the only thing. It's like, I have to like, get over yourself, Monroe. Get over yourself that you think you're in this pit. You're not unique. And that's such a weird thing to say. You're not unique, but none of us is unique, really. We're all human. I mean, we're all the same in that sense. And we all have problems. We've all made mistakes. We all have good days and bad days. And so this idea that oh gosh, I'll never find another career. That's my ego talking too. In a reverse way. I don't know if that makes any sense. But it's really the ego, because I have to say, get over it. Get over yourself, Monroe. Stop. That's not, you really think you're so important that the only thing you can do is this one. I know it sounds even weird me talking to it, but I know it's gotta be the ego that in some way is getting involved, because why would I care otherwise?
Mhm.
Why would I feel something was taken from me? I deserved that career. What are you talking about? Get over yourself. Get over yourself. You didn't deserve that career. I love how I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to you. Maybe I should have Zoom calls with myself. Monroe, listen to me. Get up your ass. Stop moping. Anyway, what does that what does it say again? I will not let my ego. I keep my ego in check. Bhavya, what does that mean to you?
I feel like ego, when we think about, like, always think that there is somebody better than you. Maybe that thinking will keep us ego down. So it's always we should remember that whatever you achieve, there is a more thing. There are some other people out there who's better than you. So that is the thing I have to remind.
I think that's a difficult, it's a difficult thing for people to accept, especially when they feel they've been cheated of something, right? Like when you're saying that, and I'm thinking about this career thing, and I'm thinking, what the heck, I have to accept that there are people better than me, or better suited for the job than me. But the truth is, Bobby, maybe you're right. And I don't think so. I think these organizations are complete idiots. I think that human resources departments are fools that they didn't pick me. I mean, and there's my ego talking, but it's so strange. That ego is what's allowed me to do all of the things that I do so well. And yet at the same time, it's caused so much problem, because in this situation, I'm thinking, how could there possibly have been anybody else who was better suited than me? But I'm sure so many people deal with that with jobs, and they think, how the heck did I not get this job? But we have to, and I have to figure out, and you're right. You know what? Maybe there were people better than me, better suited for that job, and I have to somehow
more effort,
myself of it. Good, wise. Yes, there are people better. You know what's funny? I don't have any problems thinking about it with other things. It's weird how the mind works. I know there are better coders than me. I know there are better actors than me. I know there are better business leaders than me. I know there are better managers than me. I know there are better people, romantic relationship, competent people better than me. It's just this one thing. And it's weird. I maybe just because it's so specific and so recent that it's just got such a, but what is it? What does it say here? Divers Code 9. I keep my ego in check, and I have to do it. I'm a brake diver, and so I will keep my ego in check and move on and realize that there were people better than me.
Hurts to say that, I know.
It is. It's terrible to think there are people better than me.
Not better. It's just like otherwise we can put it like there is a more room to improve ourselves. The
truth is about that, you're right, that because of what happened, I hate, again, it's forcing me to reevaluate myself and think, okay, what is it about me that maybe I could improve
Yeah.
for
Hmm.
the future?
Yeah,
Because clearly there was something, if I were perfect for the job, wouldn't I have been hired? You could argue that. Again, I still think they're a bunch of idiots. But if we look at it from the other side, if I were perfect, if there were a perfect match, purportedly I would have been given the position. So, and it's weird with, I just applied to a coding job recently and I just got rejected from it. And I'm not surprised though. And I don't care. It's so weird how it is. Like, I don't care. And I got the typical, thank you so much. We appreciate the time you spent, but we just don't think you're the right. You know what it is? I think because I put so much less time into it. I applied to it a week ago and I found out a week later, they're not. With this other thing, it was such a long process. And it felt like such a shoo-in. And with every step of the process that I succeeded with, in my mind, it was, my ego was growing and growing, thinking, okay, I got this. Oh yeah, I got this. All at the 11th hour, the door just slammed shut, and it's just such a shock. And my ego had been boosted so high to believe I had got the job. And so I get the lesson learned is, you haven't got the job until you've got the job. And I think that's a good lesson for me is don't assume. Oh, you know, this applies to anything in life, actually, with business, with contracts, with stock profits, and there's that. You don't have the profit until you sold the stock, right? And you don't have the wife until it's signed. The paperwork is signed. Just because you propose to someone and she says yes, well, that doesn't mean you have a wife. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. That's that famous expression. And I think is don't let your ego grow before it hatches too. Don't assume that you've got there until you haven't got there. Until you got the job, you don't have it. So don't need to brag. Going back to bragging, what does it say here? Yeah, I brag tastefully. I think that's another issue too, is regarding that with, don't brag to people about your job until you've got the job. Don't tell people about unless they're very close, like
yeah.
somebody very close to you, but until you got it, you don't got it. So don't let your ego get in the way. And Susan, what are your thoughts on this?
I have to be honest. I have a little trouble with this one. And it could be because ironically, I have more of an ego than I realize. But I have to say, I tend to have no self-confidence rather than have an ego, unless you people don't agree. And that's fine. Maybe you don't see that. But my confidence is, I don't expect to get jobs. I'm shocked when I get them, not when I don't get them.
You're right, and we need to modify this to include that, because part of keeping your ego in check is also making sure it should be normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine is way too high. Yours is way too low. I expect that I'm going to get every job and everything's going to happen for me, and it pisses me off when it doesn't happen. And Susan, maybe perhaps you're the opposite, that you don't apply to things because you don't expect you're going to get them, or when you do apply to things, you're always expecting not to hear positive from them, and that's just equally as bad.
Yes.
And before we go, make sure I change that on GitHub, so that we also modify this to include that. You're right. Brake divers are not, ego is not always a too much ego problem. It could also be a not enough ego problem. And we want people who come to the website to brake diving to also feel they are welcome here too. We're not trying to only control the egomaniacs of the world. We also want to help the what's the opposite of an egomaniac? The ego deficients of the world. Bhavya, what do you think? How does this apply to you?
I agree with like same way like Susan. Somewhat, yes. If it's like I don't have self-confidence, what I said. Like I usually don't expect like until unless it comes like then after it is done, if I get success, then only I have a doubt. Is it real? I got this one. Am I doing that kind of? So yeah.
You know what's interesting? Now that I hear both of you talk, I think, hey, Rohana.
Hi.
We're talking about ego right now. We're talking about the fact that it's tenet number 9 on the Divers Code, if you want to read it, and how I have a really big ego, and Susan and Bobby helped remind me that the problem is not just for people with big egos, it's also people who have low ego, small egos, improve it. Because I think having too small of an ego is not a good thing. Oh, he's very humble. Humility because you don't have confidence in yourself is not something to be proud of. Just because somebody's humble doesn't mean that's a good thing. Yeah, like I mean, just Jesus. Jesus is always the example of the most humble person in history type of thing. Well, he pretty much knew he was the greatest, but he was humble. So that's different than you're humble because you think you are worth it. That's not humility. That's lacking in self-confidence. So the issue here is that we need to find that happy medium. Oh, what I was going to say before is, but Rahana, you'll help confirm this or not. And I want you to think, Rahana, whether you think you're more like me or more like Susan and Bhavya. So, because my theory is that I think, and maybe this is why it's hard for a lot of people to understand me, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe most people are like Susan and Bhavya, and they're lacking self-confidence more than they are having too much of it. Because I think that I'm always upset when things don't work out because I expect that it's going to, because Monroe Man is awesome. And like I said, that helps me in many situations. I wouldn't have started breakdiving if I didn't get over my self-doubt. It doesn't mean I don't have self-doubt all the time. I'm always thinking, oh, I'm sure no one's going to sign up. Oh, I'm sure this is not going to work. I'm sure it's going to be another failure. And those of you who know me well know that I have a lot of self-doubt, but I get over it and still make things happen. Whereas I think, and where Susan and Bhavya, and by the way, here is, I think the three of us are all equally talented and equally competent. I just think I'm far more competent than I am. And I think I'm greater than I am. Susan and Bhavya, you think you're not as competent as you actually are. And you think you're not as great as you actually are. And the three of us can all benefit from coming more to the center. And that's why I said I love having like the two of you on the team and talking with you, because I know I have a big ego, and it's very good to get perspectives from people who go, slow down. Don't let your ego get ahead of you, as I know it's caused problems before. So Rahana, my question for you is, do you feel like you're more like me, where you have more problems with your ego controlling you too much in the sense of I deserve more, or more like Susan and Bhavya, where your ego doesn't control you, it's your lack of self-esteem that does. As a result, you don't get as much done as you probably could. And you're not disappointed when you reach failure because you expected it. What are you, Rahana? Can't hear you? You're muted? Oh.
I think I'm a number 2, like Bobby and Susan, because yeah, I don't really get my ego so lifted or anything. Say hi. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Jordan.
Hey, Jordan.
Hi.
Is your ego big or small, Jordan?
Yeah. Yeah, I have them with me today, so yeah.
To yours or friends?
Um, yeah, I'm more like Bobby and Susan because sometimes I think I could do more, but yeah, I just don't see myself as being above or like as being as good as I actually am. But I don't know. I think I need therapy for that.
Guess
I
what,
don't know.
Rahana, you're in therapy. You're in it right now.
Yeah.
What's
So
interesting about this is I realize is the four of us, we all have ego problems. And I don't think we're unique. I think everybody has ego problems. Only some people are able to admit it. The others don't even recognize it. They aren't even willing to ask for help because their ego's too high to ask for help or too low to think that anyone would want to help them.
Yeah.
Right? It's a fascinating thing. And this is the first time I'm actually really thinking about it in this way, is that either ego problem is terrible. I've been called arrogant and egotistical and self-important before, and it's always as such a horrible thing. Oh, he's so arrogant. He's so egotistical. He thinks so highly of himself. Why is that any worse than, oh, that guy over there, he thinks so poorly of himself. He's so depressed all the time. How horrible. He's a horrible person. But people don't say that negatively, but it's just as negative
Right.
because it's in both situations, it's negatively impacting your life and the relationships with the people around you. Who wants to be around someone who's depressed all the time? By the way, I'm depressed often. I mean, I have like doubt and stuff, but it's a strange compliment. It's a strange dynamic because I have a very high ego, but I doubt myself. But I think the ego is bigger than the self-doubt. Whereas I think actually, that's fascinating. Maybe with the three of you, the self-doubt is greater than the ego. Maybe isn't that an interesting, perhaps, connection? We all have self-doubt and we all have an ego. Question is, which one is controlling you?
Right.
And I think in my sense, on all the mistakes I've made in life and whatnot, the ego has helped me make decisions and do things. But sometimes it got over the self-doubt, but it was too strong of an ego. If we have a 0 to 10, where 0 is nothing, 10 is too much, excuse me, 0 is negative, or let's say negative 10, positive 10, and 0. If the ego is at 0, which is normal, but our self-doubt is negative 10, that's enough. The ego will allow you to get over the self-doubt and in such a way that you will make good actions. But if your self-doubt is negative 10 and your ego is positive 10, you're going to overcome the self-doubt, but you're going to make poor actions because your ego is too strong. On the flip side, if your ego is negative 10, but your self-doubt is 0, that's a real bad combination, right? Actually, I guess self-doubt, because it's kind of a negative, it's a reverse, right? If your doubt is low, I don't know, I'm kind of making this up on the fly. But I think there is that. What do you guys just talk about that? What do you think about that relationship between self-doubt and ego, and that they're kind of two sides of the same coin?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you mean? Yeah, tell me more.
No, I agree. They're opposite things. They're two different ends of the spectrum. And then you have the middle, which we're all trying to achieve. You have the people that, think they're above others on this end, and on the other end, people that think they're lower than dog poop on a sidewalk, and you have to kind of go in the middle, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, then there's people too that have confidence in some things. You know, like you said, you know, you can get a negative reply to a job in coding, and that did okay, whatever. You know, you weren't really surprised. You were just totally neutral about it. So that complicates things, because then you throw that in. So it might depend on the situation too. You know, maybe there were certain things I would be disappointed, and I would say I should have got that. Maybe a secretary job. I'd be pissed if I didn't get a secretary job. I type so fast. Yes, I would be angry. So there, you know, you understand my point? It depends on the situation.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
100%. I think you said domain. What I wrote down is just domain specific disappointment or domain specific ego.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you're right, because the fact that why didn't I care that I didn't get the coding jobs? Because in my mind, I know I'm not an expert coder. Whereas with this other career job, I check all the boxes, and it's like, what, how could I have not been picked? But at the same time, you'd be upset, Susan, if you didn't get a secretary job because of how fast you type.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, you're kind of in the same, like, what? And, but here's the thing, do you really want the secretary job?
That's been an issue with me. That's kind of a long story. It comes and goes. I'll tell you this. When I'm having a coding issue and I'm starting to feel terrible about myself, I want a secretary job. Does that make sense? I'm serious. I actually start looking at ads saying, I'll never code. I can't do it. I should have just listened to, I can't do it. And I go look at those stuff, that kind of stuff where I get to, you know, just type in words from a document. I can handle that. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. So then what that means is that it's not really what you want to do. It's your self-esteem and self-doubt saying,
Yep.
I'm just going to go. My thing is, I've always had, I'm just going to leave the world and go get a bartender job in the Caribbean on a beach and
Yeah.
just make drinks for people. And because it just, to me, it just seems like there's no stress. It's easy. But do I really want to be a bartender? Not really. I think my talents are better suited elsewhere, and I think your talents are better suited than just typing. And you're a great coder. And that's the strange thing too, is that, like, we think, again, self-esteem. Bhavya and I know that you're an amazing coder. You're really good. So if you don't think you are, then it's you. You're the problem. Just as people were with me, people are saying, Monroe, why do you care so much about this job? Who cares? You're so smart. You have so many degrees. You could get a job anywhere. You've got blah this, you've got that, you got that. And to me, I'm going, yeah, but I wanted that one. And I don't care about all the other. And it's the ego, because they think if I were in your position, Monroe, I wouldn't care about this other stupid career when you've got so much else going. And so it's really, it's the ego that's talking. The ego is what's making me feel terrible. And Susan, it's your ego that's making you want to run to a secretary job when you find a coding problem you can't solve, because all of a sudden it comes back haunting you on your shoulder. See, I told you you were a loser. I told you you could never code. What were you thinking? And we have to get them off our shoulder, and we all have them. You guys all know I've got 2 or 3. I've got an army of these people. They keep flying onto my shoulder like mosquitoes. Bzz, bzz. Rahana, what do you think about this discussion? Oh, maybe she can't hear us. Bhavya? About this discussion between self-doubt and ego, and that they kind of go on the same.
Yeah, it's like, I feel it's like, yeah, part of the life. I think every time we have to, sometimes self-doubt comes whenever we are like, whenever we feel, oh, it's not good. And sometimes whenever we really need something and we don't get that one, and feel like, yeah, I'm good for that one. Still, I didn't get. So ego comes, and I think we should learn to come to the, what do you say, like between, like,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow, like maybe I think for sometimes it's like only the momentary, like everybody knows what I would not say no, but I would say like everybody know their capability, what they're good. Otherwise, they will find through the, like, in the process, like what they are good at and what they're not good at, and finding that one and going career wise. Like sometimes, yeah, I feel like, yeah, I'm not good at, but keep on trying and
Yeah,
going to achieve that one. That is the thing.
that's all we can do is keep trying, right? And
Yeah.
change our perspective and try to learn and do it
Mhm.
differently rather than just doing the same things over and
Yes.
over again.
Mhm.
Rahana, can you hear me? What's your perspective on this whole concept of the fact that ego and self-doubt?
Yeah, I think it's just about finding a balance. It's about finding that happy medium in between, oh, I'm great, and oh, this, I'm not worth it or anything like that. But I think it's about finding the balance in between and being okay with whatever and being willing to try stuff and not saying that, oh, you can't do it, but saying that, okay, yes, I might fail, but that's okay. That's just me. It's just it's just the way I am. If I fail, it's no problem. If I succeed, it's not a problem. I'm still me. I won't change me, you know? Yeah, that's my take on it.
That's great. Very good perspective. And this turned into a much deeper psychological discussion than expected. But that's what happens at these diverse code meetings because we're talking about these different tenets and philosophy of life and how to live it. And I think, in summary, what we've each learned from this, we need to control our ego and our self-doubt more. And for some of us, we need to overcome the self-doubt. The self and the ego needs to be a little bit more than the self-doubt. For others, the ego needs to be reduced. Because you won't if the ego is so low, you're never going to try anything, so you're going to be disappointed in your life because you feel like you're not going after any dreams and you see everyone else doing cool stuff. If your ego's too big, when you do get rejected, inevitably, as it's going to happen, you're going to be disappointed because you think you deserved it. And you feel like something was taken from you that you deserved, whereas those with low self-esteem, low ego, think that everyone else has a life that they don't deserve. Everyone has a life that you don't deserve because but that's just life sucks, and I'm got both situations. So Rahana, Bhavya, Susan, increase your ego a bit so that you believe more in yourself and realize you're more capable than you are, more capable than you think you are. And for Monroe, you need to reduce your ego and stop letting setbacks destroy you so much because you think you deserve them. And we're guaranteed to have them. And as for Jordan, we'll let you share your thoughts next time. I'm sorry, unmute yourself.
This one is Joanna.
Oh yeah, the different.
Yeah. This one is Jordan.
Oh, there they are. Hello.
Hi, say hi. Hi.
Hi. So to finish up for today, let's just finish with what's one thing you're going to change about your life based on what we talked about today. And I'll go first. I'm going to do my best. I think it's easier to, I don't know, maybe it's just as hard. I'm not even going to say it's easier. Changing your ego perception is difficult, no matter whether you're coming up or you're coming down. For me, it's difficult for me to reduce my ego because it's so big. It's taken me to great places, but it's also shot me in the foot. And so I want to reduce it to the amount that it still is powerful enough to push me to great heights, but not so high that I feel entitled to things. Because I think anytime we feel entitled to something, that's a problem. And it warps our judgment. So I'm going to work on that and see if by changing that perception, I can reframe this career loss into something that everyone else seems to think is not a big deal. I want to believe that too. And Susan, how about you? What are you going to change about your life?
Well, I'm going to start thinking about and believing what people are telling me, and that should help me with my self-esteem. Like you and Bobby just said, and I'm thinking now, all throughout my career, I've had more than one boss take me aside and say, you got to get your self-esteem up. You're doing a great job, because I start to get low, thinking I can't get one problem. So, oh my God, why am I here? I'm going to get fired. And I've been like this all my life. So I am thinking back now and thinking about what people have said to me. And I think I need to start remembering that a little bit more and saying all these
Wait,
people
stop.
can't be wrong.
Not,
you know?
I think I need to. Rephrase that.
I need to start thinking about what people have said to me in the past and now.
Also, keep in mind, there's a difference in I need to and I'm going to. I need to, it's just a desire. It's
Well, I
something
guess
on a
when
to-do
I
list,
say I
right?
need to do that in order to push my self-esteem up. I think I need to start believing when somebody tells me I did a good job, not
And
just
are you
trust-
going to?
I am going to. Yes.
Okay.
How's that?
Much,
I
much.
am. I am.
Here's the truth is, the reality is you're very talented and you're an amazing coder, and there's no need for you to become a secretary because you're really good at coding. Everybody knows that who knows you. And you've said that the last 20 years. So the problem is not the reality. The problem is your perception of reality.
All up here.
Yeah. And I know it's easier said than done, because I know if you were saying the same thing to Monroe, everybody thinks you're so talented.
Right.
You have so many things open to you. You're not defined by this one career rejection. There are so many better things, but it's hard for me to get through it. But hearing you say it too, it helps to remind me, Monroe, get over it. And Susan, get over it.
Yep. Yep.
Get over it. Rohana, how about you? What's something you're going to change about your life based on our discussion today? And you unmute yourself.
I'm gonna start to try new things and start to practice on like things that I have had for a while, because sometimes with the kids and stuff it gets thrown to the side because I don't, like, my whole life is practically taking care of kids. So basically I think I'm going to get out there, get more out there, find more time, schedule myself, and have more time to develop me. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Sometimes people tell me, oh, Monroe, you're single, you don't have any kids, of course you've accomplished so much. And it upsets me so much, because they're blaming their failure on the fact that they have children. They blame their poor time management skills on the fact that and they're taking away my success. saying that if I didn't have children, I could easily have done what you've done, Monroe. It's such a cop-out, and it's insulting, not only to those people's children, but also to me, to make it seem like, oh, so what I did is not something to be proud of. So all I'd say, I know you did not say that, Rahana, but in the fact that you just said that your whole life is taking care of kids and that you've put yourself to the side, your kids are important, but so are you. And when I have kids, I will not in any way let them take over my life, because I don't want to look back and say, my life was great until my kids arrived. Then all my dreams went out the window, because that's a terrible, terrible thing. I think there's a way for you to do some. Think about all these families who have a YouTube channel with all their kids. And so that like they use the fact that they have all these kids to do something positive, and now they're making lots of money now they can pay for all the meals for all the kids and stuff. So figure out a way to do it. Never for a moment think, I can't because of the kids. I don't know your situation, but a lot of times people use children or whatever it is, their job or their husband or wife or their financial situation, whatever it is. Even me, constantly bemoaning this career loss, we all use something as an excuse for why we don't move forward and do what we want to do. So your mission, Rahana, as you said, is, and you've already recognized it, I'm just reinforcing it, find a way to pursue your dreams without sacrificing your duties and responsibilities to your kids. I think you'll be a lot happier, and your kids will look up to you even more, because they'll see that, wow, I want to be just like her and able to pursue my dreams while also having many responsibilities. So. And Bhavya?
Yeah. One thing I have to do is believe on myself, on my what do you say, capabilities. Yeah.
Capabilities.
Yeah, capabilities. Believe in that and start not improving. Yes, yeah. Learn more about it, like what I'm good at it, and improve on that. Yes.
Same thing I'll say to Susan. Not one of the things I'm going to. What are you going to do?
Susan, yeah, I want to say, Susan, you are like amazing. Whenever I see all your replies or in the coding chat room, you go into the deep on subject, everything, wherever you write. I was always, oh my God, wish I go like that.
Oh, well,
I ought to learn like that. So I always wish I can learn like that.
Bhavya, what I was saying,
can.
Susan, stop saying I wish or I need to. Bhavya, say right now, I am going to increase my confidence in my capabilities, and I am going to be like Susan.
Yes.
Say it. Not me, you say it.
Yes, I'm going to.
Going to what?
Improve my confidence and my capabilities. Yes.
Say it now in one sentence.
Okay. I'm going to improve my capabilities and confidence. Yes.
Perfect.
Good. So I gave the three of you feedback. Is there anything that you wanted to give to me for my situation, so you don't feel like I'm just preaching to you guys?
Well, I know it's getting late, but I'll say something quickly. I really admire you for, you say you're the person with the big ego in the group here, but yet you know that you have a big ego. So, I mean, you are halfway there. That is amazing. Most people with a big ego, I'm fine. Oh, I do not. They just really believe they are better than everyone else. You realize you might have a problem here that you have to work on. And I just think that's very impressive. Don't you? Don't you think? I mean,
yes, I wish I had recognized it 5 years ago. And I'm just hoping that me recognizing it now, and it was not like now, I've been working on it for the last 2 years or so, 2.5 years. I hope that my recognizing it now can lead me to even better and higher heights than I would have achieved had I got this job that I had been working towards. And in my good frames of mind, I believe that God does have a plan for me and has a higher purpose for me, and I'm meant to clearly do something greater than what I had thought was my destiny. But it wasn't my destiny, clearly. And so I'm working to find my real destiny. I wouldn't say stop my find my real destiny. I'm working to find my destiny, because clearly that was not it. There's one destiny.
Yeah.
If you believe that stuff. And if it is, clearly that was not it, because I'm not there. So I was misled by my ego to believing that that was my destiny, but it was not. Rahana, are you down in, you're in Jamaica, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you in Kingston?
No.
Should they, wait a second, should they
Westmoreland.
have those two scissors going?
I know, right?
I'm so scared when I see that. You said you're in Kingston?
No, Westmoreland.
Westmoreland.
Yeah.
Is that a big city?
Kind of. It's one of the parishes. It has 14 parishes. Westmoreland is one of them.
Got it.
Yeah, and it's like I'm in the city of Amity in Westmoreland. Yeah, it's not really that big, but everything happens in Kingston. All the jobs are there. Well, most of the jobs are there, and yeah. So
Wait, but the coolest person in all of Jamaica is not there.
no, she isn't.
She isn't. So I don't know why you think it's so fancy, because Westmoreland's got the coolest Jamaican I've ever met.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess I could say the 3 coolest Jamaicans.
Yeah.
That's right. You too. So great to see all the 4 of you. Let's wave goodbye to our folks on YouTube who are
Wave
watching.
goodbye. Wave.
Hope you guys have a great day. Please join us at diving.io. Bye.